All right, y'all. Praise be to Yahuah. Bless his Kadesh Shabbat. And we give praise, honor, and esteem to his name. John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify me will not come by his name, you receive me not. Another, I come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. You have one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if not his writings, how should you urge? Shalom, my G. Shalom, Brother Brennan. Praise be to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Psalms 132, Psalms 99. Psalms 132 and Psalm 99. Just change the title. We still rolling with Psalms 132. You can pick it up at verse 9. Psalms 132 and 9. Let your priests be clothed with righteousness, and your saints shout for joy. For servant David's sake, turn the fruit of your body will I set up your throne. Now, we talked about fruit of the body a tad bit, and what that deals with on Wednesday. And of course, he told you, be blessed be the fruit of your body. And Deuteronomy 28, what we're dealing with, there's a couple other things in Deuteronomy 28. That this man have someone to sit on his throne. We got to have some other things to roll with on that. 9. Yahuah reign. Now I'm going to pause. I want you to look at reign. You know what that is. That's Malik. That's to become a king or a queen. To make one a king or a queen. To counsel, to advise. Nevertheless, Yahuah is king. This is what that is telling you. And once you know Malik is Meme, Lamad, and Kaf. So when we take this here, the shepherd was subdued and shed his blood. This would be able to sit on that throne. The same way that David had to suffer before he could sit on the throne. So Yahuah is king. We just recently talked about Yahushua being king of kings. I know he's going to be talking to people that seems new. And you said Jesus, you said earth pig. Who has time for that? Oh, you said Lord, you're talking about boss. See, that's foolish. I ain't mad at it. Verse 2. Let me just cut this off. Verse 2. Yahuah is great in Zion. He is high above all the people. Let them praise your great and terrible name, for it is Kadash. Listen what it says. The king's strength also loves judgment. You do establish equity. You execute judgment and righteousness in Jacob. So let's pause. It said the king's strength. Y'all know that's ours. Now, of course, again, this is dealing with Melech. This is simply king. Someone who is royal. Now you have to ask yourself, who is this king? Who is the king's strength? Who would like to proceed? Who would like to proceed? It says the king's strength also loves judgment. Who is the king? Who is his strength? And I need you to be specific. And when I mean specific, I mean information to back up your assertion. Slow brew to perfection. That's what they say. So I take it nobody wants to take a shot. Well, Let's begin then. Psalm 24. Who is the king? Who is his strength? And you have to have information to back up your assertion. No. So I'm letting y'all know that general answers. If you don't have anything, you don't have to have book, chapter, and verse. You can have. Yeah, I'm going to think at a time. Don't worry about something else. If not, you'll be forever mediocre. You know what people do with mediocre? They laugh at it and mock it and say, look at mediocre. Don't ever put no wide receiver on me that's mediocre. You get picked at by Richard Sherman or whatever his name is.
So will you say no to Yahuah being the king?
That is correct. Okay. So let's begin then. Psalms 24. The earth is Yahuah's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Of course, when it comes to that verse 2, that's Genesis 1. We're not dealing with all of that this evening. Who shall ascend into the hill of Yahuah, or who shall stand in his Kadash place? Who can answer verse 3? Who shall ascend? Now come over here to chapter 2, and this will help you out a little bit more information-wise. I guess I can start at verse 1, and we can knock Psalms 2 and 24 off our list right now, along with us knocking Psalms 99 out the box. Psalms 2 and 1, why do the heathen rage and people imagine a vain thing? Y'all already know that. That is the people saying we want to crucify him. That is the Romans going along with it. The kings of the earth themselves and the rulers take counsel together against Yahuah and against who? His anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder, let us cast away their cords. He that sit in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then he shall speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet I have set my king upon my Kadash hill of Zion. I also would declare the decree, Yahuah have said unto me, you are my son, this day have I begotten you. Ask of me, I shall give you the heathen for your inheritance, and the earth is like a potter's vessel. Just for those of you who are not aware that Yahushua promised you the same thing. For those of you who are not aware, come to Revelation chapter 2, because I know most of you are. But it may be somebody here who is not aware that Yahushua promised you the same thing. And again, we're still talking about fruit of the body sitting on the throne. And if I hadn't done it already, of course, you know, you would be the fruit of his body, and you'll be sitting on his throne. And we'll be establishing that in just a moment. Revelation chapter 2, verse 25. But that which you have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcome and keep my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron, and of the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Abba. And I will give him the morning star, the day star. He will give you life. If you overcome, you will also be born of Yahushua. Let me just go ahead and deal the born with Yahushua aspect now. Come on over here to 1 John chapter 5, because it's all tying in. Praise be to Elohim for stuff that we talked about on Wednesday, that unlike with people, you know, you're going to have to be, you're not a child of Elohim's by product of being born. See, that is, you think that you a child of Elohim because you are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I'm here to tell you, you are certainly a fool. And when I say certainly a fool, someone has fooled you into believing that. Matter of fact, since I mentioned that, let's take a pit stop at Romans chapter 9 to establish that point. Y'all know the song, everybody plays the fool. There's no exception to the rule. And a lot of individuals have played the fool, listening to these niggas with the lies that they be telling. Romans chapter 9 and verse 6. He said, not as though as the word of Elohim have taken none effect, for they are not all Yasharal, which are of Yasharal. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all sons, but in Isaac shall your seed be called. Listen what he said one more time. Because they are the seed, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all sons, but in Isaac shall your seed be called. That is, they which are the sons of the flesh, they are not the sons of Elohim, but the sons of the promise accounted for the seed. See, old wicked lying Hebrew nigga come and tell you, see, that sons of the flesh, they'll tell you that's the nations. They lying to you. They telling you a story. See, let's go ahead and look at it in John chapter 3 to establish that fact that they telling you a story. John 3:3. See, this is why John the Baptist told them people don't say that you have Abraham to a father, because he say Yahuah Elohim able to raise up sons from stones to Abraham. Well, he don't need you for that. See, if you come by to somebody and they think they're a son of Elohim because they're Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're dealing with a carnal man. You're dealing with a sinful man. That's a sinful man. That's what that is. John chapter 3, verse 3, Yahushua answered and said unto him, truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Elohim. Nicodemus said unto him, how can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Yahushua answered, truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and of the Ruach, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Elohim. See, you're going to have to be born into the death. You're going to have to, see, there's multiple different avenues that we've looked at over the years, and I don't want us to go off the beaten trail. But nevertheless, well then, you got to go into the grave and live by the Ruach or live by Elohim after coming out. See, that's what you don't understand. See, you was a bastard child before you got baptized, boy. Because you hadn't went to, what these people be lying to us, man. There's a lot of people going to be looking real crazy, wondering why they can't get in. Nevertheless, I'm going to just keep it rolling. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and of the Ruach, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Elohim. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Ruach is Ruach. Don't be amazed that I said that you must be born again. So guess what? You big dummy. Ain't that what Fred Sanford told you? Well, was you not born of the flesh? That's why I say you got to be born of incorruptible seed and not corruptible seed. If you born of the word, you born of incorruptible seed. Elohim never dies. Abraham died, silly. Isaac and Jacob died, silly. See, come over here to 1 John chapter 5. See, nobody don't want to deal with that. Setting the people up for failure. 5 and 1 is sufficient. Thank you. Do you still need this? I'm talking to you. Do you still need this?
Mama, do you still need this?
No. 1 John chapter 5 and verse 1. Whosoever believes that Yahushua is the Mashiach is born of Elohim. Everyone that love him, that begat, love him, also that is begotten of him. So let's slow that down. Let's come over here. We're holding Psalms chapter 2, Psalm 24, Psalms 99, and Deuteronomy 28. We ain't got there yet, but we're holding that too. But I want you to come over here to John chapter 12. I was going to say 13. I'm going to use 12. I want you to go to 12 and 44. He said, whosoever believes that Yahushua is the Mashiach is born of Elohim. It said, everyone that love him, that begat, love him, also that is begotten of him. See, that's going to take us back to Psalms 2 when he said, I have declared the decree this day I have begotten you. So when he tells you that everyone that love him, that begat, love him. Who are you loving? You're loving his Father. Therefore, you see, this is the thing. You cannot be born again unless you're born of the word. And you can't be born of the word unless you allow that seed to enter into your heart. See, individuals thinking they sons of Elohim just by reason of existing. You got niggas standing on the corner calling themselves prophets because they reading out the text. That's laughable. That's laughable. What that shows to anyone who has any level of understanding that this individual has no understanding of the word whatsoever. You're not a prophet because you open up the text and read up out of it. Talking about you prophesying. That man didn't appear to you and give you no word of prophecy, boy. You reading something that multiple generations had already read. You not prophesying. You's a fool. Like I told you, man, Brother Pharaoh asked this here, man, is there a go along, get along gang in Israel? Boy, it's a whole gang of niggas who go along to get along. Whole gang of them, all across the country. Grown men, too. Go right along with stuff they know ain't right. Round here fanboying and champion whole niggas on the regular. And niggas think that junk cool. That junk ain't cool, man. You a grown man, boy. If somebody out of pocket, boy, you got to let that be known. If it ain't right, it ain't right. You can't use that excuse. They waking up the people. That's an excuse to not be a man and say, nah, bro, that's not right. I don't care who you is. You think Yahuah will be walking around here talking about, well, they waking up the people. So it don't matter. They waking them up to their nationality. Come on, bro. That's disrespectful to Elohim. That's disrespectful to his sensibilities. That's disrespectful to his righteousness. To think that this man will go along to get along. Oh, we got to get him in, then we'll straighten it out. Boy, that's weak man talk. That's not even proper leadership. Why would somebody look at you as somebody who they would adhere to and follow? When you ain't man enough to say, nah, bro, that boy ain't no prophet standing on no corner. Boy, that man say, boy, he got to appear to you in a vision and a dream. And you got to speak a word that shall surely come to pass. You can't tell me you prophesying because you talking about, see, right here, he said he coming back. The prophets have spoken. Sit your monkey behind down somewhere. Nigga, you sound like a damn fool. You sound stupid. I already know he said I read that for myself. So am I a prophet now because I read that? Nigga, please. Makes no sense. John 12:44. Yahuah cried, he that believe on me, believe not on me, but on him that sent me. And he that see me, see him that sent me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's look at 13-20 because we here. See, a lot of people, they don't believe. I've been telling you that for years. Eventually, the Lord allow you to see it with your own eyes. Not because I said it, but because he said it. And sometimes people ain't going to believe the fact that a majority of these people out here thumping on their book don't believe Nan's solitary word in it. It's just something to talk about. It's just something to do. It's not something that individuals hold with their dear life because they look at it and view it as their life. 13-20, truly, truly, I say unto you, the book of John, he that receive whomsoever I send, receive me. He that receive me, receive him that sent me. So how else you going to believe that Yahuah is the anointed unless you believe on the person who son him? Because that's who you will be born of. So, see, if you don't believe, then see, you a son of the flesh. You can't be a son of the promise. To be the son of the promise, you got to be a believer of the word. Let's justify that with more books. Romans chapter 4. Because we got to take, he said, in Isaac, your seed is going to be called. So that means we got to justify the person who believed and make Isaac the seed of the promise to begin with. You can pick it up at 4-16 of the epistle to the Romans. Romans 4-16. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by mercy to the end of the promise might be sure to all the seed, not only the which is of the law, but to that which is of faith of Abraham, who is father of us all. You have to realize that's the mercy of Elohim dealing with Abraham. Abraham had no heir. His wife had no ovaries. They had shriveled up and died. Her womb was dead. Pause. Hebrews 11. because that passage about that came to my mind, I desire to read it. Make sure I'm in the right spot. Hebrews 11 and 11. That ain't the exact spot that I wanted, but Hebrews 11 and 11. Oh, never mind. We finna read it. I'm thinking it's in Hebrews, what I had in my mind, but it's right where we at. It say, through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed and delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. See, that's the whole key thing. A lot of individuals do not judge who are faithful, but for not nan solitary thing that they promised, that he promised. They don't. They don't have that type of belief in this man. Let's go return to Romans chapter 4. Because what came to my mind, it was in Romans chapter 4. Let's read verse 17. Elohim who quickened the dead and called those things which be not as though they were, who against hope believed in hope that he might become the father of many nations, according to that which was spoken, so shall your seed be. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. See, that's a whole nother thing in of itself. But what came to my mind is we won't even consider the deadness of the womb that Yahushua would put in. Ain't no life in the grave. See, hold on. Let's justify it. Isaiah 38. Isaiah 38, verse 16. O Lord, by these things men live, and in all these things is the life of my Ruach. So will you recover me and make me to live? Behold, for shalom I had great bitterness, but you have in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption. You have cast all my sins behind your back. Now, see, we didn't talk about this previously. We'll give it a brief notion right now. First thing first, he said, O Lord, by these things men live. What are those things he's referring to? He's referring to Elohim himself in the previous passages before this. Of course, if you're not aware, Hezekiah was sick unto death. He beseeched Elohim to heal him. After this, he said, all these things is the life of my Ruach. All these things that are in the life of your Ruach is the word of Elohim. He says, so will you recover me and make me to live? Again, what we read in John chapter 3, you must be born of the water and the Ruach, or you're not going to live. You're going to die. Nevertheless, he said, behold, for shalom, I had great bitterness. Yahushua had shalom. Of course, you know he was bitterness in his soul. He said, for in your love to my soul, from it didn't even say delivered it, because that's not there, but delivered it from the pit of corruption. You know that I will not suffer your Kadash one to see corruption. He cast all your sins behind your back, because he told you that he would make a new covenant, not like the covenant he made with your fathers, but he would give you his Ruach, and your sins and iniquities he will remember no more. Because a man went into the grave. Listen what he says. For the grave cannot praise you. Death cannot celebrate you. They that go down into the pit cannot hope for your truth. So, again, this is a part of the baptism. Listen to what he says. Verse 19. The living. He shall praise you as I do this day. The father to the children shall make known your truth. Oh, no. Look who he said who would make it known. The father to the children would make it known. Not this stuff what he do be talking about the mother is the first teacher. You got to put that matriarchy African spirituality junk to the side, because that's not what Yahuah taught. Yahuah said the father going to make known the truth. That's what he taught you in the law. That's what Hezekiah, you bestowing it upon your wife to let your children be learned of Yahuah. You are a failure as a husbandman. You're not doing your job. You're abdicating your responsibility because you either don't want to do it, you're too scared to do it, or you're just a selfish bastard. Things wrapped into one. And it is what it is, and I stand on that. Because that's not that lady's job. You supposed to be teaching her. So how's she gonna teach anybody? She's looking at you. But see, that's the society that we live in. You send this woman off to do stuff she ain't supposed to be doing. I know some women be like, it's a new time. We could do this and do that. Well, you could do that at another nigga house. We're not doing that over here. Take it how you want to take it. One thing about it, man, you got to be a man, and you can't be swayed by the machinations of quote unquote forward thinking people. Most forward thinking people are some of the most miserable, chaotic, mentally individuals that you will ever encounter. Always talking about you progressive. What you progressing to, nigga? Yeah. People getting mad. I told you they were mad about them sissy lights in this city, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Mad about it. Man, out there, that just made me think about when I used to Uber, man. See all them doggone punks all over the place, man. Them nigga, nigga driving Saturday night or whatever. I'm talking about nigga getting plenty rides around there in cahoots. You don't even want to be somebody talking about they in some cahoots. I'm straight on that. And them sissies was flamboyant and flagrant. Not flamboyant and flagrant for his day outfit, but they did what opened at the fact that they wasn't right. They didn't mind you knowing that they was a sinner. Nevertheless, Yahuah is ready to save me. Therefore, we will sing my songs to the string instruments all the days of our life in the house of Yahuah. So the text is just let you know this. In the deadness of the womb, ain't no praise, ain't no celebration, ain't no nothing. Returning back to Romans chapter 4, verse 20, we still got Psalms 2, Psalms 24, Psalms 99, Deuteronomy 28, 1 John chapter 5. 4 and 20. Romans, he staggered not at the promise of Elohim through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving esteem to Elohim. See, there's a lot of people right now. Oh, you don't believe you're going to resurrect from the dead? You staggering at the promise of Elohim. You ain't giving him esteem. With your lying self. Uh-oh. That's going to offend somebody who's going to see this later on. I don't think it might not offend nobody on here right now. They're going to be like, I don't like this guy. Well, Yahuah don't like you, nigga. So take that and smoke it. But at the end of the day, how you a child of the promise if you staggering at the promise? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't even make any sense. Yahushua didn't stagger at no promise. David didn't stagger at no promise. David went even harder to fulfill what was going to be given unto Solomon after Yahuah promised that to him, to Solomon. He didn't say sit back and be like, oh, that's not going to happen. You know, Paul had a statement in the book of Acts where he said, as it was spoken to me, that's how I believe it's going to happen. Most people don't believe that. Most people don't believe that as Yahuah has spoken, it's going to happen. That's why you have lackluster results. And you know the crazy part is we like to blame it on all this other external stuff that you got going on. And in reality, you just don't believe the word. Let's just be honest. Because at the end of the day, that man told them people, he said, the harlots and the publicans heard what I had to say and believed it. He said, but yet y'all don't. So they're all you talking about a harlot, it's a whore. She gets paid for dalliances, sexual dalliances. She is compensated. Might have been a dumb whore. Indeed, sir. She might have been a dumb whore and don't even get paid for sexual dalliances. You know what I'm talking about? You got publicans, they were known for being all type of crooked. You had the scribes and the Pharisees had word every day. So at the end of the day, it's never about a person's vocation, location. It's all about what's in their heart. It ain't no deeper than that. Oh man, that just reminded me. I ain't sent that nigga that phone. But see, we don't want to deal with that. I could have sworn I said, there it is. Shalom, man. See, we don't want to deal with that. You want to separate these brews? Don't sit around there and be talking about doctrine this and doctrine that and this, that, there, and the third. Boy, you believe in Yahuah, boy? You believe in streets made out of pure gold, look like transparent glass, boy? You believe you're going to resurrect from the dead, boy? Because these boys already be mocking you. I done told you this before, and I'm not finna go long on this here. But I can't stand these niggas talking about they praying to their ancestors and all this whole extra stuff and Mercury retrograde and all that extra stuff. And you laughing at us because we believe in Yahuah? Nigga, I look at you niggas and like, well, shoot, nigga, that's the pot calling kettle black. Because if you mocking us for y'all believe in Sky Daddy and this, that, there, and the third, nigga, you believe in floating spirits of dead niggas. You believe in spirits of dead niggas is directing your life. You believe the Earth's orbit around another constellation, because I ain't gonna call it no planet, because there ain't no planet, another constellation affects your behavior. A nigga believe the pull of the moon from the Earth affects his behavior, and you mocking me? I just seen a man, not a woman, a man to my Mercury retrograde got to be hard this week. Nigga, what? Every time I see a man talking about he influenced by constellations, Mercury retrograde and all that there, I promise to you the first thought of my mind is I bet that boy lay in the bed and get moist. Because ain't no grown man should be around here talking about he swayed and moved by any other external forces other than the logic and reason in his mind and the values and standards and codes that he hold to. How in the world you dictate your feelings? And nigga, you sound like a hoe. And you should start telling any man you hear talking like that, nigga, you sound like a hoe, nigga. What type of man is you? I don't want to be with no friends with no man talking about Mercury retrograde influence him. Nigga, that mean you ain't got nothing you stand. Well, you ain't even no man, boy. Boy, you talking like how the ladies talk. We don't respect that, man. Four and 21. And being fully persuaded that he had promised, he was able also to perform. Therefore, it was imputed to him for righteousness. Now, it was not written for his sake alone that it was imputed to him, but for us also, to whom it shall be imputed, if we believe on him that raised up Yahushua our Lord from the dead, who delivered us for our offenses and was raised again for our justification. Look how he came back and who you said you had to believe on. Not on Yahushua, but the one who raised him. That's why he said, if you will not believe, he said, I'll give you a prophet like unto Moses and him who you will hear. And he said, and if you won't hear him, I'm a required of it. Because you ain't rejecting the prophet who he's sending, you rejecting him. Remember that's what he told Samuel? He said, Samuel, don't get upset, man. He said, boy, they ain't rejected you, my G. He said, they rejected me. He said, but protest against them solemnly. Come on back to 1 John chapter 5. Let's knock that on out. I think we done with it. 5 and 1 again, just on general principle. Yahushua, oh, I'm sorry. It's covered up. Whosoever believe that Yahushua is the Mashiach is born of Elohim. Everyone that love him that begat, love him also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the sons of Elohim when we love Elohim and keep his commandments. For this is the love of Elohim that we keep his commandments. His commandments are not grievous. For whatsoever is born of Elohim overcome the world. And this is the victory that overcome the world, even our faith. Who is he that overcome the world? But he that believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. Which means you're going to have to believe the word. And that goes back to that Psalms too. Let's return. 2 and 10. We were about done with it anyway. Be wise now, therefore, O you kings, be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve Yahuah with fear and trembling. With fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and you perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. See, they don't like to have that come. See, this is the thing, man. You could come back to Psalms 24. When you go to talking about you trusting Yahuah, well, that get niggas mad. I don't even know why that get people mad. I do know why I get people mad, but my point of why I mentioned this here, because that's when you begin to make a difference between you and them. See, that's the only way you're going to be a son of Elohim, that you are a child of the promise. So you're not a child of the promise because you believe you're Israelite. That's not what he promised you. He didn't promise Abraham Israelites. He promised Abraham a seed and to make him a father of many nations, because this man was faithful unto him and he had no heir. That's why it's grace, a.k.a. mercy. That's the mercy of Elohim, to look upon his servant and say, I ain't gave him no heir. He said, you know what? I'm going to do him one better. I'm going to moralize him forever and make him a father of many nations, as the sand of the sea can't be numbered. Because, see, Jacob ain't the focal point. Isaac is the focal point. Isaac is the one who he promised. The same way that he promised Yasharal a seed, a.k.a. Yahushua. Jacob come through, and he's representative of the Ruach HaKodesh, or the dispersing and bringing forth of sons. But see, we don't want to deal with that because we caught up in the. I mentioned that and Matthew, come over here and look at it just for John the Baptist to talk his talk, so he can walk his walk and make these people feel how they should feel, how they ought to feel when they should feel it. Matthew chapter 3, I believe. 3 and 7. He said, but when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his immersion, he said to them, O generation of vipers, who have warned you to flee from the wrath to come. Bring therefore fruits meet for repentance, and think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that Elohim is able of these stones to raise up sons unto Abraham. Well, that man don't need you, boy. I know that's a hard pill for a brew to swallow. Well, that man don't need you, boy. Not to execute what he need to execute. That man don't need you, boy. That man don't need you, boy. That's your own foolish mind to make yourself believe you way more important than what you is. News for Jax is telling us something right here, everybody, that we already know. Because allegedly the economy is recovering. But prices on groceries, travel, and transportation are on the upswing. Thank you, Mr. Obvious. Y'all asked for Kamala the Great. Some of y'all remember Kamala the Great. Some of y'all too young to know who that is.
Have you been to the border?
I know each know who Kamala the Great is. Unfortunately, that brother's passed away. I think he passed from diabetes. I know he had his foot amputated. And Sleepy Joe. Now gas $3. The price of bread and milk is too damn high. That was the man say. Remember that black man? You don't know nothing about that black man. It was a black dude. They ran for alderman in New York City. Had a mean Frederick Douglass afro. I'll say the price of milk is too damn high. Kamala Harris got on in front of man and said, have you been to the border? She said, I've been to the border. You been to the border? We've been to the border. He said, you've not been to the border. Oh, we've been to the border.
Oh, I have been to Europe, but
you know what was funny? That boy BOA say, boy, if Joseph Biden died and Kamala Harris become president, that man said he's leaving the country. That nigga said, I will not be led by a woman. That rough right there. That boy said, I got to go. And you know what? I feel it. Because that woman was so flustered. Oh, that man just asked, had you been to the border? All you had to do was say no. I plan on going. She like, oh, I've been to the border. You been to the border? That just reminded me of that interview with Joe Budden and the Migos. You left off bad and bougie? Who got left off bad and bougie? That's how they were talking. Lord, have mercy. Don't pay me no money. You white folk crazy. Come on back to Psalm 24. They say, you got left off bad and bougie? I was on bad and bougie. Who say I wasn't on bad and bougie? So 24 and 3. So referring back Who shall ascend into the hill of Yahuah or stand in his Kadah place? Clearly that Yahushua. He said, it's expedient for you that I go away. For if I go away, then the Comforter will come. You know, from Hebrews chapter 7, it told you that he entered into the Kadash of Kadash to make intercession on your behalf. But let's look at verse 4. He that have clean hands and a pure heart, who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. Now, just for time's sake, we know that Yahushua had clean hands. How do we know this? Because Pilate did what? What did Pilate do? He washed his hands and said, I will have nothing to do with this just man. He said, what has he done? So we know, let's just look at each thing in that individual. We know the man had clean hands. So he that have clean. When we look at this one here, it is Nekeh, Nun, Kuf, and Yod. That is free from guilt, clean, innocent. That's what that means. Also exempt from obligations. When you're clean and innocent, you're exempt from the obligation of death. He that sins, that soul shall die. So when we look at it, the last Adam is life. Because the first Adam was not clean and exempt and innocent. The second one was. Let's look and see it. Let's justify it. 1 Corinthians 15. We'll be brief in 1 Corinthians 15. Definitely will, because I don't have that page in this book. Verse 42, 15 and 42, Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption. Adam was sown in corruption, and he was raised in incorruption. Man was made from the dust of the earth. It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in esteem. It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power. That's what a lot of brothers don't understand, that Adam was sown in weakness. Do y'all understand how, let me not ask it like that. Who doesn't understand how Adam was sown in weakness? Let me ask that. Who doesn't understand how Adam was sown in weakness? Sown in weakness. At this point, I'll take it that everybody understands how. Praise you. Oh, you don't? Okay, I said that because ain't nobody said that. Okay, Eric does not. Anyone else? I'm just asking who doesn't understand that he was sown in weakness? Was he made from the dust, young lady? I don't know. Are you just usually saying you don't because you don't, or you just saying it because that's your default answer? No, I'm talking to Shade. He and Eve knew they were naked. Anybody else doesn't understand how he was sown in weakness? I understand. I'm just asking. Sometimes I don't ask questions to be funny. Sometimes I ask questions because I actually don't know. And the only way that I would know is if I asked. Very well, young lady. Very well. Oh, you say following Eve? First thing first, let's look at sown in Hebrew and not in the Greek. Let's look at that. Let's do that. When you look at sown, you're going to have the word that most of you already know, and that's zerah, and that's the scattered seed. That is the scattered seed. Remember, as the saying goes, you reap what you what. So we have to look at, did Yahuah sow seed in the? Let's look at you. And that's where you would have been at, Kira. That's why I'm at, because you were asking. I want to know what you going to tell. Or what you just going to ask. But that works better when we can say it audibly and not through typing. Genesis 2:7. So it says, and Yahuah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So we have fashion, form, frame, which is Yatsar, which y'all know is Yad, Sod, and Rod. So he formed him. Well, what would he have formed him with? If Yahuah formed Adam, how did he form him? Now, this is something that you're going to have understanding. Right. How did he form him? You say his hands. Anyone else? How did he form Adam? How did he go about forming him? His breath put life in him, young lady. How did he form the frame, the physical frame? That he breathed the life into it. And his image out. Anybody else? How did he form it? You say spoke him into existence? Anybody else? How did he form it? Understand it? Right. Anybody else before we roll out? Thus and formed him in his image. Tavon hit the nail on the head. He spoke him into existence. Remember that all things are framed. Everything that's ever been created was created by what? His word. Indeed, Johnny. His word. That's all Yahuah has to do is speak. It tell you in the book of Jeremiah that at his decree, the waves don't overtake the shoreline. So he just simply spoke him into existence. That's it. Just says there, and that's all it takes for the Father. That's all it takes. Mm-hmm. That's all it takes. It don't take much. So let's look at the next aspect of it, because it says that he formed it. So we know he's been formed. Let's look at dust of the ground, because that's what he was formed from. Dust is afar, which we know is dry earth, mortar, rubbish, powder, ash, loose earth, ayin, pay, and rosh. So we know the words of the highest. So that also allows us again to understand. Oh, you ain't got to apologize, brother. That's not even that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? Not a big deal in the least bit. Because it ain't even about if individuals gonna say the right or wrong answer. It's to cause you to think and to scrutinize why you believe what you believe. That is the most important thing. Not about because we're not in school. Ain't nobody. It's not like I'm handing out exams and you're gonna get back and you have an F, you have a C plus. You know what I'm saying? No. That's not the objective. That's not the goal. Put her hands on her test. Now let's look at the next part, which is ground, and y'all know that's Adam law. And we talked about that not too long ago. That's how you know that he spoke a word into existence in virgin ground, just like he did with Yahushua. Therefore, you know, what do you have? You have something that was sown or scattered in weakness because of dust of the ground. As you know, in Psalm 51, it says that he was formed and shapen into what? Oh, that's wild. At their age, I definitely wasn't taking a shower. That was unheard of. Nigga definitely sitting in the tub.
Well, that's what you chose, though.
It wasn't close.
As long as I don't want to hit you.
So, and Psalm, yes, mother, that is correct. So when we look at Psalm 51, it says, I was shapen in iniquity. I want you to come to Galatians 4, right? When you get to Galatians chapter 4, and you get to verse 1, I want y'all to tell me what stands out to you in regards to what we're talking about. I ain't gonna read it. I want you to go to the Galatians chapter 4, and you start at verse 1. In context of what we're discussing about him being sown in weakness, and I want you to tell me what verse stands out to you.
1 to who?
What?
Starting at verse 1 to what? The end?
Yeah, you gotta figure that out. Figure that out, baby. He doggone grape say divine flavor with a butt naked white baby. Ain't that about a stinking house? What y'all find in Galatians 4? Tell me what you find. Tell me what stands out to you in context and what we're discussing right now. Because I know what verse should stand out, but we're going to see if it does for anyone else. Verse 4. Anybody else? 4 and 5, 22 and 23. Anybody else? We just got two volunteers. You said verse 6. Brother Reynolds say 4 and 5 as well. Anybody else? I'll give you about another minute. The people like Deidre here say they don't read that fast. So we take that everybody's good. Let's look at some of the verses that were offered. Let's look at verse 3. Even so, when we were sons, we were in bondage under the elements of the world. Me personally, verse 4 was the verse that I was referring to, that Monte and Brother Reynolds pointed out. It said, but when the fullness of time was come, Elohim sent forth his son, made of a woman made under the law. And she made under the law. What is the law? Anytime Yahuah speaks something, that's law. Because he spoke a word to create Adam, that's law. So when you're looking at that, this is somebody who's sown in weakness, because you're sown in dust. There is no strength in dust. Now, Monte mentioned verse 5 along with Brother Reynolds, and Brother Reynolds went ahead and added 7 and Tabon, verse 6, and we're going to get to 22 and 23 in a moment, and they all go together. He say to redeem them that were under the law, that they might receive the adoption of sons. Remember, Adam is considered to be a son. Elohim made Adam. Elohim may make you, lest you born again. He's saying, because you are sons, Elohim sent forth the Ruach of his son into your hearts, crying, Abba. Wherefore you are no more a servant, but a son, and if a son, then an heir of Elohim through Mashiach. See, that's another reason why you have to be born again. Because remember, he told you, he that overcome will be my son, and he will inherit all things. If you ain't born of the promise, you ain't inherited nothing. Remember, you should know this law-wise. Why should you know according to the law that a son inherit all things? Why should you know this according to the law? Y'all should know the answer to this quite easily. And I need specific answer. But you can't give nothing but give me a specific answer. What does the law say about that? Reuben, he said he was the beginning of his strength, but he didn't speak in Genesis 49 about him inheriting all things. But I can roll with it, because we're going to go around that corner in a little bit. What does the law say about a son inheriting all things? It looked like y'all might be a little rusty. And it's okay. Because just like Peter said, sometimes we have to stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. It's okay. I want y'all to know that, right? By the grace of Elohim, we done covered a lot of information, man. So y'all willing? This year 9, we're creeping up on. I can't expect all y'all to remember all that stuff all the time. Going once? Going twice? You remember? You.
Yes, sir.
Deidre, you remember? Deidre don't remember. Genesis chapter 26. Oh, it might be 25. Is it 25? Yeah, it was 25. Not at circumcision. Genesis chapter 25. Verse 1 is fine. Then Abraham took a wife. Her name was Keturah. She bare him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, Shua. Jokshan begat Sheba, Dedan. The sons of Dedan were Asherim, Letsham, and Lamun. The sons of Midian, Ephah, Hanok, Abadiah, and Eldah, and all these were the sons of Keturah. Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac, though. Because he said in Isaac's side, your what? Seed be called. Isaac got the inheritance. You got to be a son to get an inheritance. You ain't a son, you ain't getting nothing. And the reason why that's as important, because he's the son of the what? Promise. You ain't the son of the promise, you don't get the inheritance. Law back that up. Uh-oh. That's why I say those that don't know the law are cursed. Uh-oh. If you ain't the son of the promise, if you ain't an Isaac shall your seed be called. Well, if you ain't of that seed, boy, you ain't got no promise, boy. You ain't got no inheritance, boy. Oh, you got to be born again, boy. See, the Brews don't want to tell you that. They want to tell you it's a cause of strong ass couching down between two birds. Mexican. They want to tell you white man gonna get killed by thermonuclear warfare. They ain't gonna tell you, boy, if you ain't no son, boy, you ain't got no right to nothing. You ain't got no right to nothing. Absolutely nothing. We just read it in Psalms 2, right? He say, ask of me, I'll give you them people for your inheritance. You just seen Yahushua said, if you overcome, I'll give you the same inheritance my father gave me. Uh-oh. That's how he the king's strength. That's how the fruit of his body is blessed. Uh-oh. Fruit of his body is blessed because they get inherited everything. Uh-oh. Now we got to ruffle some feathers. That's right. Son, dwell in the house forever. He that commits sin is the servant of sin. Uh-oh. Let's go and look at it. John 8 for the people. Ain't that sad, Dap? They claim he received a better inheritance. He ain't get nothing from. How you get a better inheritance and your daddy ain't give you nothing? Ask yourself that question, y'all, because Brother Dap definitely brought up a strong, serious point in the matter that Islam definitely teaches that Ishmael got a better inheritance. Come over here and look at y'all. Look what Ishmael got. Let's come over here, y'all, so y'all can see what Ishmael got. That's for you, because I know it's some of y'all don't know what Ishmael got. I got to remember where it's at. Hold on. I think it's in the first half of 21. Well, it's been a long time since we looked at this one here, though, with Hagar and that story with her in the wilderness. It's a lot of stuff in there. Genesis chapter 21. Yeah, but I'm looking at something else. I'm thinking about something else, but never mind. Sometimes my mind be going all over the place. Genesis 21 and 9. The fourth of the things popping into my brain. Oh, that's what you like, golden round. You like golden round, huh? Crackers. Nigga don't want to get Ritz crackers. That nigga want to get golden round crackers.
Sorry, I was at the store. I went to whatever store I went to.
Nigga, we know them Aldi crackers.
Okay.
21 and 9. Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking, ridiculing. Same thing they did to the Lord. Yeah. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman. And that's going to tie into the 22 and 23 in Galatians, that Stanley reference. We'll get to it in a moment. Cast out this bondwoman and her son. The son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. Oh, pause. John 8. Let me do it now, while the point is still fresh. We are done with Psalms 2. We got Psalm 24, Psalm 99, Deuteronomy 28, Galatians chapter 4. Done in 1 John chapter 5. And 1 Corinthians 15. John 8 and 30, because you know I like to start it at 30. And as he spake these words, John 8 and 30, many believed on him. Then said Yahushua to those Yahudim which believed on him. He was only talking to those who believed. If you didn't believe, he wasn't talking to you. That's what you got to understand. I'm going to read that to you again. Then said Yahushua to those Yahudim which believed on him. He wasn't talking. If you didn't believe, he wasn't talking to you. What he's about to say, if you didn't believe, he wasn't talking to you. I'm going to read it to you again. Then said Yahushua, matter of fact, let 30 again. As he spake these words, matter of fact, let's back it up to what made them believe. Verse 28. Then said Yahushua unto them, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you shall know that I am he, and that I do nothing of myself. But as my Abba taught me, I speak these things. And he that sent me is with me. Abba have not left me alone, for I do always. Matter of fact, let's back it up again a little bit more. And let's read verse 23. And he said unto them, you are from beneath, I am from above. You are of this world. I am not of this world. I said, therefore, unto you that you shall die in your sins. If you believe not that I am he, you shall die in your sins. Because he told you, whosoever will not believe the prophet that I send, I will require it of him. Mm-hmm. Now, back to verse 30 again. And he spake these words, and many believed on him. Then said Yahushua to those Yahudim which believed on him. So again, if you did not believe, he was not talking to you. If you continue in my word, then you are my disciples indeed. This man say, if you continue in his word, then that would be evidence that he has taught you. Remember what he said, bind up the testimony and seal my law amongst my disciples. That's what he said. And you shall know the Amath, and the Amath shall make you free. So then you will know, see, if you continue in his word, then you will know how faithful Elohim is, and therefore his faithfulness would free you from the weakness that you were sown in because of Adam. Oh, no. But see, these boys don't even know that the faithfulness of Elohim is making them free from sin and death because they're not continuing in his word. Oh, no. Then they answered him, we be Abraham. See, that's how you know they didn't believe. That's how you know the people who didn't believe are talking. He said, they answered him, we be Abraham's seed. We have never been in bondage to any man. How say you, shall we be made free? Yahushua answered them. He said, he had said in another passage, he about to come up and tell him. He said, if you were Abraham's seed, you would do the works of Abraham. That's it right now. If you was an Israelite, then you would be doing the works of Jacob. So hold on, do we need to see the works of Jacob? Do I need to show you a work of Jacob since everybody say they're Israelite? Come over here to Genesis 28. Let me show you the works of Jacob. Let me show you the work of Jacob. You know the works of Abraham, but let me show you the works of Jacob. I'm going to pick it up in Genesis 28 and 17. Yeah, say that reminded them of them to walk away. Them seven, they say, we can't walk with him no more. He said, you going to leave me too? They say, where we going to go? That's what Peter said. Where we going to go? You know how selfish and proud niggas is in these days and times? They'd have walked away from the Lord and said, we can find a better word somewhere else. And you know what happens to these whole niggas who think that in their brain? They never find it. They got to find something that feels a little spicy that they use to the gimmicks to cover up the fact of these ain't the words of everlasting life this nigga spitting. But I done committed out here so far, I got to make it seem like it's fire. And you know what whole niggas do to make it seem like it's fire? Belittle those who actually have the fire. That's the same thing. That's the nigga who sit on your corner, sit in front of your trap and shortstop. That's what that is. But nevertheless, I know some of y'all that's not. You don't have no idea what I'm talking about. But that's okay. You know what I'm talking about?
What, he blocking?
Yeah, you know what shortstopping is?
Hey, in reference to baseball also? Is it like, did they go hand in hand?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking.
Shortstopping. Who on here know what somebody's shortstopping is? No, that's just selling bad dope. But you know who know what shortstopping is? Matter of fact, Paul made a reference to something of that reference a little bit to shortstopping.
It's not cock blocking, no?
I mean, it can be akin to cock blocking, but it's a certain way that you shortstop.
Okay, Johnny.
Shortstopping is this. Say this is my spot right here. You will post up around the corner and catch my customers before they can get to my door and try to serve them.
Yeah, seriously.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not necessarily selling on your corner. Because, see, you can sell on the corner, but say like this, my trap, and you posting up in direct vicinity of my trap trying to stop these people from getting to my front door. Because niggas stand on niggas' corners.
Okay, get you something.
That's a dangerous thing to do. I would not recommend doing that. Don't stand on people's corners.
Same thing. Know where they get that from baseball. Anyway, continue.
I mean, we know what shortstop is for baseball, but shortstops don't stand in front of somebody else's establishment and pick off their customers.
No, but he's there before that person. Anyway, continue.
No.
Okay.
How is he there before the person? There's nobody in front of the shortstop.
No. Okay. Never mind.
Who is in front of the shortstop, man?
Not saying nobody's in front of him. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about as far as the positions in the field. That's why you call him.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
He's just a shortstop. Stupid name.
No, it's like I said, position near the second and base.
And third base.
Right, exactly.
That's not a shortstop.
It makes sense though. Because this your base and he right here.
No, it doesn't work for me. Genesis 29. Your mammy. Genesis 29 and 16. Jacob awaked out of his sleep and said, surely Yahuah is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of Elohim. This is the gate of Shamahim. Jacob rose up early in the morning, took the stone that he put for pillows and set it up for a pillar and poured oil on top of it. He has anointed the rock. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if Elohim be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on. So you already know, if he'll guard him in the way, Yahushua is the way. If he'll give him bread to eat, which is the lamb's body, and if he give him raiment to put on, which is the Ruach HaKadosh, so that I come again to my Abba's house in Shalom, then shall Yahuah be my Elohim. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be Elohim's house, and of all that he shall give me, I will surely give you a tenth unto you. So when you look at the works of Jacob, Jacob was faithful and said, I give to Elohim if Elohim give unto me. And all he was looking at is, if Elohim bless me in the fashion that he say that he will, then I will certainly give back to him what he has given unto me. But niggas always screaming they Israelites, they ain't giving Yahuah nothing. They ain't even giving a tenth of their time. And when I'm talking about a tenth of their time, just unadulterated focus on Yahuah. Niggas don't even want to give Yahuah a tenth on the Sabbath. Let's continue. John chapter 8. Don't be late in John chapter 8. 8 and 33. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed. We've never been in bondage to any man. How say you, you shall be made free? Yahushua answered them, truly, truly, I say unto you, whosoever commits sin is the servant of sin. And the servant abide not in the house forever, but the Son abide forever. If the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. I know that you're Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me because my word have no place in you. Back to Genesis chapter 21. Amen. Genesis chapter 21, verse 11. This thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. Elohim said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in your sight because of the lad and because of the bondwoman and all that Sarah hath said unto you. Hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall your seed be called. Also the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is your seed. Abraham rose up early in the morning, took bread and a bottle of water, gave it unto Hagar, put it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away, and she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. The water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs, and she went and sat down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. And she said unto him, and she said, let me not see the death of the child. She sat over against him and lift up her voice and wept. Elohim heard the voice of the lad. The Malachim of Elohim called unto Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what ail you, Hagar? Fear not, for Elohim have heard the voice of the lad. Where is he? Arise, lift up the lad and hold him in your hand, for I will make him a great nation. Elohim opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad drink. Elohim was with the lad. He grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. He dwelt in the wilderness of Paran. His mother took him a wife out of the land of Mizraim. So what ended up happening with this gentleman here? He became to be a nation. 12 princes arise out of him. That's another nod to who? the apostles. But that's Ishmael. So that don't sound like a better blessing to me. That sounds like somebody who got to get out the house. I give you a consolation prize. Yep, that's what he did with Esau. He gave him a consolation prize. And he only gave him a prize because they cried. Because Elohim is a just Elohim. I ain't going to let you sit back and cry. Dropping corn, huh? You're a corn dropper. We are good in Genesis 2. Let's go back to Galatians 4. Go out to verse 22 and 23. So we can eliminate that off our books. You could pick it up at 21, though. Make it 19. Galatians 4 and 19. My little children, of whom I travail in birth against until Mashiach be formed in you. I desire to be present with you, and now I change my voice, for I stand in doubt of you. Tell me that you desire to be under the law. Do you not hear the law? Uh-oh. For it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he after the free woman was by promise. Uh-oh. One was sown according to the flesh and not according to the promise. Which things are an allegory? For these are the two covenants. From one Mount Sinai was gendered the bondage, which is Agar. When you look at that one there, I mean, because basically Hagar was on his own. You got to remember, he told her to get rid of him. See, that's akin to what's in Nehemiah when he told all them boys they had to get rid of them strange women and their offspring. Once he put Hagar out, Hagar was on her own. So it was her responsibility to find Ishmael a husband, because Abraham had no longer any responsibility or duty to her or the lad after that point. So, but I can delve in something out of that just based off of what Ishmael name means, and I've just given you the natural, the direct version. If I'm not mistaken, Ishmael name regards to affliction. Let me make sure. It's been a long time since we talked about old Ishmael. Old Ishmael. I don't even remember. It's been a long time since we talked about Ishmael. You know Ishmael? You do know Ishmael. He took your lunch money. Did he take your lunch money? Mm-hmm. You sure?
Who is Ishmael?
Pick this up at Genesis chapter 16. Who is Ishmael? I don't know no Ishmael. 16 and 9. Ishmael. I don't know no Ishmael. Do you know Garbage Pail? Kids? Who are they? Yes, exactly. Genesis 16 and 9. And the Malachim of Yahuah said unto her, return to your mistress and submit yourselves under her hands. The Malachim of Yahuah said unto her, I will multiply your seed exceedingly. It shall not be numbered for multitude. Malachim of Yahuah said unto her, behold, you are with child. You shall bear a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahuah have heard your affliction. Uh-oh. Ishmael means, hold on. Very good, Sade, very good. You should be proud of yourself. So, of course, you know, Ishmael means Elohim will hear. Elohim will hear, and he got a wife who come out the city of Cops, or the city that is understood to be the house of bondage. When you sit back and you look at that, the mother, Jerusalem, went and got Elohim will hear, a wife who was in bondage. Elohim heard him because he was obedient to therefore deliver him and his wife out of bondage, which of course you could look at that in the story of Joseph and that there in the third, but we'll have to visit that another time. But just like I say, on the natural side, which is different from the current society that you live in, if a man put a woman out Her and the kids went with him, with her, unless they were his natural seed. So now let me understand, let me make this clear so y'all can understand how things went in ancient times amongst our people versus what goes on in this Western society, which you live in now. If a man divorced his wife, the kids stayed with the man because the kids are his. That's his seed. The kids do not belong to the woman. In ancient society, children were never viewed as belonging to the woman. They always went with the man because they are literally his seed. They are literally his offspring. Children are not a woman's offspring. She's the incubator and holder of the fruit. But because he has the seed and gives the seed, it has always been considered that the children belong to the man. Only in Western society if there's a separation between the parents, that the children go with the mother. But that's for a whole nother situation, circumstance. But if there was a situation like you've seen in Nehemiah, and we can go look at it in Nehemiah 13, if you had children with women from a group of people who Yahuah told you not to have them, and you had to get rid of that woman, the kids went with her. And there was no support, no nothing for her or those kids. They were on their own. That's what you've seen with Hagar. He told, what did Sarah say to do? Get rid of the bondwoman, right? And Elohim told her, hey, Elohim may look out for her, but once she was gone, Abraham ain't had nothing to do with that. The baby was on her own. That's why she had to go out and find him a husband, find him a wife, because he was on his own. Nehemiah chapter 13. Pick it up at verse 23. In those days I also saw Yahudim that married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and Moab, and their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Yahudim's language, but according to the language of each people. I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by Elohim, saying, you shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon Malach of Yasharal sin by these things? Yet among many nations where there's no king like him, which was beloved of his Elohim, Elohim made him king over all Yasharal. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our Elohim and marrying strange wives? And one of the sons of Yehoiada, the son of Elishab, the high priest, was son-in-law to Sanballat the Hornite. Therefore I chased him from me. Remember them, O my Elohim, because they have defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the Levites. Thus I cleansed them from all strangers and appointed the wards of the priests and Levites, every one in his business. Let's back this up a little bit, because I've been in the back part of it. We need to get to the front part of it. That might be in chapter 12. Because he definitely told him, take you and your bastard children and tell them go somewhere else. And that's harsh right there. Because there's not a lot of people who are going to be willing. There's not a lot of men who are going to be willing to do that. And when I say that, meaning that they're not going to have the ability to have the wherewithal and the courage to stand on the word of Elohim and not get rid of their wives. Most dudes is going to not get rid of their wives. Most dudes is going to keep their woman right there. They're not going to do it. And they could care less about what things will happen and occur because of it. I'm trying to remember the part where he literally told them, hey, boy, y'all got to go. Come over here to Ezra chapter 10. And 10. Ezra 10 and 10. Ezra the priest stood up and said unto them, you have transgressed and taken strange wives to increase the trespass of Yasharal. Now therefore make confession unto Yahuah Elohim of your fathers, and do his pleasure, and separate yourselves from the people of this land, and from the strange wives. Then all the congregation answered and said with a loud voice, as you have said, so must we do. But the people are many, and it is a time of much rain. We are not able to stand without. Neither is this a work of one day or of two, for that we are many that have transgressed in this thing. Let now our rulers and all the congregation stand, and let all them that have taken strange wives in our cities come at appointed times, and with them the elders of every city and the judges thereof, until the fierce wrath of our Elohim for this matter be turned from us. And then it begins to enumerate all the priests that had strange wives. And they said, and some of them whom they had children. But they had to put the women out. And the kids had to go with them. Because see, you know why? Because children of the flesh can't inherit with children of the promise. That's the underlying message. Now let me ask y'all this here. How does that, when you hear that these people had to, by the word of Elohim, send off their kids and their wives because they married women who they were not supposed to marry in the first place? What's your perspectives on that? Does anybody have a perspective that they would like to share on that? Because me, I have no problem with it. Because I knew I shouldn't have been messing with that funky hoe. No way. And I know I shouldn't have been messing with her and I say funky because she's a harlot, because she serves other gods. All she gonna do is turn me from serving my God. He already had told me this. So if I had been, and I'm just telling you my perspective, if I'm being a pro, because look at it, them people already knew they were wrong. Those people already knew they were wrong. So because, and this is where you have to look at something as a man. You do something and you know it's wrong. You don't count out and weigh out the consequences of your choice and decision and how it may affect others. So because you made a negligent choice, now this has a negative and a deleterious effect upon children who did not ask to come here. See, most people, your natural inclination is to well, what about the kids? But see, you weren't thinking about the kids when you went and did something that you know you have been instructed not to do. So they have to go. It said them kids couldn't even speak the Yahudims language. So if they couldn't speak the Yahudims language, guess what else they didn't know? If those kids couldn't speak the Yahudims language, what else did they not know? They ain't know the word. So guess what's going to end up happening? Whose culture are they going to cleave to? They mamas. Guess what them kids going to end up doing in the amongst of other kids who were born of two parents of Abarim lineage? Influence them to do evil. And then get them and the kids they influence stoned. All because you chose not to do what you were supposed to do. See, you can't blame Yahuah for that, because that's a consequence of an action that you did not weigh out. Now you can take that and you can and remove marrying strange wives and set any type of decision in place that you want to set in place, and you got the same outcome. As a man, you have to sit back and look at the ramifications of each decision you make and how it's going to affect other people. See, that's why most men in this current day society who say they leaders are not leaders of men or leaders of anyone, because they don't think about other people when they make a decision. They only think about the ramification of the decision to them, which is very, very feminine. Because men have to think about the ramifications of everyone under their charge when they make a decision. You can't be a leader and have people under your charge. Thank you. And not think about how your choices and decisions will affect them. These men in Ezra and Nehemiah did not think about that. And therefore it cost them. And those children had to suffer because of it. Nevertheless, back to 1 Corinthians 15. Still holding Psalm 24, Psalm 99, Deuteronomy 28. So, oh yeah, let me finish this. Galatians 4. Drop down to verse 28. Now we, brethren, as Isaac was, we are the children of the promise. But as then that he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the Ruach, even so is it now. That's what we seen when he said that he was mocking him. See, that shows you, that also takes you back to this enmity between the serpent seed and the woman seed. Somebody who's of the flesh ain't never going to link with somebody of the Ruach. Deal with it. Stop walking around here thinking because we all Israelites and bruised, that means, son, some of these niggas of the flesh, boy, they are the earth. Boy, their names written in the earth. They are Satan. They are their father, the devil. They're not of heaven. You can't be that simplistic. You can't be that simplistic. I told you that. You got to be pro-Yahuah. You got to be pro-Amav. You can't be pro-black. You can't be pro-Israelite. That leads you to respect the persons because you're going to make decisions and have leanings towards pleasing other men. I ain't here to please men. Say, if I please men, would I be a servant of Mashiach? Absolutely not. We're not here to please men. We're here to please Yahuah. You don't like it? Take it up with him. Nevertheless, what say the scripture? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with the son of the free woman. So then, brethren, we are not sons of the bondwoman, but of the free. Well, we ain't no sinners, boy. 1 Corinthians 15. So when we look at how the first Adam was sown in weakness, because he was sown in dust. There's no strength in that. Trust in Yahuah, for trust in Yahuah is everlasting strength. Yahushua was sown in strength because he was sown in faith of belief and trust in the word. Verse 43, it is sown in dishonor, it is raised in esteem. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There's a natural body, there's a spiritual body. And so it is written. The first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening ruach, or a spirit that makes alive, or a breath that makes alive. Because we look at it, said he breathed in him. He was a living soul. Oh, but he didn't live forever, baby. That's the difference. Because if he was meant to live forever, then it definitely would have said quickening. For those of you who don't know what the Hebrew word for quicken is, let's go take a look. Psalms 119. Maybe we can grab it from somewhere other than Psalm 119. Yeah, let's go to Psalm 71, make it quick. We're not going to read Psalm 71. I'm just letting you see where that word is. That's where it's at. Psalm 71 and 20. I think this bottle funky help. And of course, that is kaya, a word you're familiar with. To live, to have life, to remain alive, to sustain, to be restored to life or health, to revive, to preserve, to quicken, to restore to health. And we definitely need to be restored to health because we got a lot of problems going on. But back to Psalm 24. Verse 4 is where we at. He that have clean hands and a pure heart, who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. He shall receive the blessing from Yahuah and righteousness from the Elohim of his salvation. So you got clean hands. You're innocent. You got a pure heart. That's bar. That's sincere. Remember what Yahushua son of Nun told you, to serve Yahuah in sincerity and in truth. So it's individuals who have a sincere heart. That's why he say, blessed are the pure in heart, for they'll see Elohim. Those who have a sincere heart to serve Elohim will see him, because their hands will be clean. Matter of fact, come over here to Job 17. I believe it's Job 17 and 9. Indeed, indeed, indeed. He said, the righteous shall hold on his way, and he that have clean hands shall be stronger and stronger. I want you to just pause and think about that. You know that righteous is Zadok. Zadok is going to Ahaz, which is to grab hold, to seize, and to take possession. You're going to take the Zadok, take possession of the Darak or his way. And therefore they have clean hands, which is to her, which y'all know is to be pure. How can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed according to your word. You're clean from the words that I have spoken unto you. Now you become stronger and stronger. Omets, simply strength. Aleph, Mem, Sod. You know that Yahushua is the way of life. Because take that Mem and that's Ruach, and the Ruach is life. Or you could take it water. It's still life. Nevertheless, you know that Yahushua is the way of life. As simple as that. That's what makes you stronger. Because you took and you held on to his way. You seized it. Most individuals don't seize on his way. That's why their hands don't get clean, and that's why they don't get stronger. It's just as simple as going to the gym. The more you go to the gym, you should be getting stronger. Now, don't get me wrong, in a natural sense, going to the gym, your body plateaus. But spiritually, you should never plateau if you're laying hold onto his way. You should be getting stronger and stronger, meaning your faith. That everlasting strength should be getting stronger and stronger. So should. But praise the Lord. Back to Psalm 24. Verse 6. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek your face, O Jacob. Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be you lift up, you everlasting doors, and the King of esteem shall come in. Who is the King of esteem? Yahuah strong and mighty, Yahuah mighty in battle. Yes, ma'am, the word is alive, indeed. Lift up your heads, O you gates, even lift them up, you everlasting doors, and the King of esteem shall come in. Who is the King of esteem? Yahuah of hosts. He is the King of esteem. So now we did all of that from Psalms 99 to establish who is the king, and that is his father. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15 to finish that off. That the father is the king, and that Yahushua is his strength. After 1 Corinthians 15, Genesis 49. 1 Corinthians 15 and 21. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead. For as in Adam all die, even so in Mashiach shall all be made alive. Every man in his own order. Mashiach the first fruits, and afterwards they that are Mashiach's at his coming. Then come the end, when he shall deliver up the kingdom to Elohim, even Abba, who shall have put down all rule and authority and power. For he must reign until he have put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death, for he put all things under his feet. For when he say that all things are put under him, it is manifest that he is accepted, which did put all things under him. And when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him that put all things under him, that Elohim may be all in all. A long way to say that he going to get the kingdom up to his father who gave it to him, and he will be in subjection to his father, and his father will rule. His father is the king. Let's go to Genesis 49. and 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Yasharal your Abba. Amen. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Remember, he said, today you are my firstborn. I have begotten you. See, this is why he say the king's strength, because Yahuah is the Abba's firstborn. Psalm 99. That's why he say what? You say that I blaspheme because I was sanctified and I'm the son of Elohim? This is how the Son is able to reign or become king. How was he able to become king? For the fruit of his body, the fruit of David's body to sit on the throne. For the fruit of the body to be blessed. Because he became a king. And how was he able to become a king? Because he was subdued. The shepherd was subdued and shed blood. And that's how he was able to become king. Let's continue. We're in verse 4 of Psalms 99. The king's strength also loved judgment. Remember, he's an Elohim of judgment. Let's look and see how he loved judgment. John 5 on general principle. Oh, man. Also tells you that in Psalms 37, that his mouth speaketh of judgment. And remember, what is judgment? It's mishpat. It's just saying what's right and what's wrong. But John chapter 5. And 19. Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, the Son of Man can do nothing of himself, but what does he Abba do? For what things soever he do, these also do the Son likewise. Abba love the Son, show him all things that he himself do. He will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. For as Abba raised up the dead and quickened them, even so the Son quicken whom he will. Abba judged no man, he committed all judgment unto the Son. Remember, somebody has to make, it tells you that he's an Elohim of judgment. This man's an Elohim of Mishpat and Shaphat. This man love what's right. And he gonna love to tell you what's right and what's wrong. Most people don't remember. He said, I testify of the world that its deeds are evil. That's why it hate me. Back to Psalm 99. It says he do establish equity. Let's discuss equity. Equity, remember, that's evenness, it's uprightness, it's straight, it's level. Just weight, just balance. You can look at that just weight when he sat back and told them people, so you pull an ox out of ditch on the Shabbat. You mad with me because we walking around here healing people? Think about that. Remember, he told you don't judge according to appearance, judge righteous judgment. And of course, you know that he's going to come back and execute judgment in righteousness, because in righteousness, he do judge and make war. He said, exalt you, Yahuah Elohim, and worship at his footstool, for he is Kadash. Moses and Aaron among his priests, and Samuel among them that call upon his name. They called upon Yahuah, and he answered them. He spake unto them in a cloudy pillar. They kept his testimonies and the ordinance that he gave them. You answered them, O Yahuah Elohim. You was an Elohim that forgave them, though you took vengeance of their inventions. And see, again, you know, inventions here is a law. And that's practicing evil deeds. Ayin, Lamad, Yad, Lamad, and Hey. That man say he is going to take vengeance of men performing works that are evil that they ain't had no business doing. He said he heard him. He said he forgave him. But he going to take vengeance of your wicked deeds. Exalt Yahuah Elohim and worship at his Kadash hill. For Yahuah Elohim is Kadash. Now, Deuteronomy 28. Basically, what that's telling you was something we discussed, I think, last week. And Isaiah 2. It's in and Micah 4. Is that you're going to go up to Jerusalem and worship the living Elohim. And boy, you're going to have to be set apart to come worship at that set apart hill. And who did he say will ascend into that hill? But he that have clean hands and a pure heart. Well, if you're not free from innocence and you don't have a sincere heart, you're not getting there. These are all the things that Yahushua embodied. Because he said, which one of you convinced me of a sin? And if I tell you the truth, why you don't believe me? He said, what transgression do you have against me? So that in and of itself, you know that he had clean hands. Now, of course, I referenced earlier Pilate washing his hands to symbolize that he wanted to be clean from killing the man because he already knew the man's hands were clean. He said, well, what wrong has he done? What has he done? Nobody knows. Deuteronomy 28. We look at verse 6, right? And I think we talked about that. Blessed when you go out, blessed when you come in. Of course, Yahushua said he would be the one to lead you out and to bring you in. I think we did. We read that in John 10. We also read that in Numbers 27. This is the shepherd. Shepherds protect their sheep on the way out and the way in. Let's continue in verse 7. You shall cause your enemies that rise up against you to be smitten before your face. They shall go out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. Now, just briefly, because we can take off all night on that, and we've talked about this stuff not too long ago. We read this in in Joel, chapter 2. We talked about it in Jeremiah 25. You can reference it again in Revelation 20 and Ezekiel 38 with Satan deceiving the nations and then rising up. Do you understand? Because this man obedience that he going to cause your enemies to be smacked down before your face and you won't have to lift up a single solitary hand. I want you to understand that from these blessings from the aspect of the obedience of one man. And if this dude don't leave me alone this time of night, boy, what's wrong with you, boy? Worrying about some skip tracing. Nagav. To be stumbled, to be stricken, to be smitten, to be beat, to be dashed, to be slain, to be killed. Didn't it tell you Yahushua would come down here with a sword? Didn't he tell you that your enemies' eyes would burn away in their sockets and their tongues and their mouth? Your enemies are going to run from you. Did it not say, let us flee from the face of him that said, come on, look at this stuff here, man. I didn't want you to sit back and pause. Understand this here, man. This man, obedience has caused these blessings, and the fruit of his body has right to these blessings because he said, blessed is the fruit of his body. The fruit of his body is sitting upon the throne. That's Yahushua. And guess what? The fruit of his body can sit upon the throne because all you got to do is overcome the world. And who is he that overcome the world? But he that believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. Well, how do you believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim? Because the seed fell in the good ground. Because it fell in the good ground, it produced love, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, meekness, faith, self-control. It produced the fruits of life, manifesting that the word is present and that you are born of Elohim and are of Elohim. Therefore, you have a right to the inheritance as a son. See, these boys talking that talk, but I'm telling you, man, these boys going to get a lot of niggas cut off, man, because they not telling you, boy, to inherit, you got to become a son. You should know that from the law. You should know that from the law. Not just with Isaac, but you should know that in regards to Jacob and Esau. Because once Esau sold his birthright, he had no right to the inheritance. Though he sought it carefully with tears, he had no right to it. He could never get it. Only the son that is acknowledged. You just seen that with Ishmael and Isaac. Only the son that is acknowledged has right to it. If you're not a son, you don't have right to it. Doesn't matter what you do, don't matter what you say. He's not going to acknowledge you as his son. He's not going to grant unto you the inheritance that was only set apart for his son. See, when we bring, I don't want to say Western, when we want to bring modern ways of thinking into how Yahuah operates, this is the ancient path, baby. They ain't do this back in the day. They ain't do this back in the day. That's one of the reasons why they put them strange kids out, because they weren't going to inherit. But Ishmael was literally Abraham's son, and and as far as Yahuah was concerned, that nigga ain't your child. Yes, he is your son, but he ain't your son, because I don't fool with that nigga. That man had a lot of kids with Keturah. Them ain't your sons. You know how we know this? How do we know that none of the sons that Abraham had were his sons according to the law? Talk to me now. I know y'all know. I need you to be specific as you possibly can. How do we know, according to the law, that none of them kids that Abraham had was his son? Don't mind me. It's a little caramel and whiskey. Just a little caramel and whiskey on the top. It's delightful, and I like it. It's soft, but it's still masculine. But that's the vanilla. I like amber and vanilla and liquor. They were promised the covenant. Anybody else? Are we going to have to go read it? Or is somebody going to be able, well, we're going to read it regardless, but is somebody going to be able to pop it up here on the screen? Dag nabbit. Nobody else? Just Brother Reynolds? It's easy too. Y'all know it too. For those of you who've been around here for a minute, it's easy. Because they were the sons of the concubine. I see some of y'all done forgot. If anybody remember, I thought Little Stanley would have remembered. Little Stanley don't remember. Come over here to Genesis chapter 22. Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1. We'll look at Hebrews 11 on top of it, but Genesis 22 and verse 1. It came to pass after these things that Elohim did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. He said, Behold, here I am. He said, Take now your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I tell you of. Look what he said, take now your son. What? Your own. Now, of course, at this time when he stated this, he ain't had these kids with Keturah yet. You understand? He ain't had these kids with Keturah yet. So I want you to understand that. Drop down, verse 12. And he said, Lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything unto him, for I know that you fear Elohim, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. That's the only boy I got. Now, of course, at this time, it's just Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael is not even regarded. He is not regarded. He is not considered. When you look at thine only, of course, y'all know what this is. This is Yaked, literally definition, only begotten son. Only begotten son. Literally what that word defines to, only begotten son. Yaked, if you don't recall. When it says thy only, because son is not there. So that's Yod, Kot, Yod, and Dalet. Only one, solitary, one, unique, one, only begotten son. That's it. Literally what it says. Let's see if Hebrews 11 got what I need. Because I might have been thinking that the definition was what in Hebrews 11. But let's look at Hebrews 11. Yep. Hebrews 11 got what I want. 11 and 17. Oh, yeah, Lisa. Deidre told me what you said, talking about it smelled like me in there. My whole collection ain't in there. I ain't got them stuff them people got. I got some other things. But no, they probably had a lot of woods going on in there. Probably some vanilla. I'm partial to woody aromatics, amber and vanilla. Hold on. What'd you say, ma'am? Well, I take that back then. I got a lot of time for it. Is that similar with the angels and Yahuah being the owner? Yeah, to an extent. To an extent. Because remember, the Malachim are Yahushah's sons. They ain't his fathers. But they still all sons nonetheless. They still all sons nonetheless. Hebrews 11:17. By faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he that received the promises offered up his only begotten son. Of course, son is not there in that writing, so it only says only begotten, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall your seed be called, accounting that Elohim was able to raise him up, even from the dead, from whence he also he received him in a figure. That was the purpose. He was supposed to, that the purpose of him tempting him to offer Isaac was to show you that he would raise Isaac from the dead, because he had made a promise that in Isaac your seed gonna be called. Most people overlook that and thinking, why would God ask him to kill his son? Because he already know he made him a promise. He was showing you the resurrection of the dead in that story, overlooked by many. But praise Yahuah. We understand. We understand. See, the concept of an only begotten son didn't start in Psalms 2, it started in the law. That's why when you take Psalms 2 and you take it with the law and you bring it with the gospel and you hit it with the epistle, same word. Because when you're born of Yahushua, you become an only begotten son. Because he only had one son. But you're born of his son. Therefore, he's going to recognize you as his only son by giving you the rights that only begin to the beginning of his strength and the excellency of his dignity. Praise you, Lord. Returning back to Deuteronomy 28. He is the only son because he is the only son that Yahuah promised him. You know, Ishmael was made. No, I'm going back to Deuteronomy 28. The one in the law is what we just read in Genesis 22. When he called him Yaked, your only son. No, just the concept of only begotten son is in the law. Right there in Genesis 22. Of course, the concept of resurrection of the dead popped up long before Genesis 22, but it's there in regard to sacrifice. And again, the unwavering faith, hope, and trust that Abraham had in Yahuah. Because he told him in Isaac, your seed gonna be. How could Yahuah's word be fulfilled if Isaac is dead? Isaac, the one got to produce the offspring. Again, because of the fruit of your body, will you be blessed? The fruit of your body gonna see. The fruit of the body begins with Abraham, which in turn goes to Isaac, which in turn goes to Jacob, which again is the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh, because Jacob is representative of the Ruach HaKodesh and the dispersing of sons, because he produced sons. Jacob could only produce sons because of the only begotten son. That's the Ruach's job, is to go produce sons. Because the Ruach, being a feminine word, is representative of the mother of all living, so the Ruach gives birth to sons. Well, I mean, he wouldn't ask you to do that, because that's not something that he would ask a woman to do. So I understand why you would have trepidation. You have to understand that Yahuah knows our frame, but we are but dust. And he knows that a woman is not going to readily give up her son. It's for forsake killing. He wouldn't ask a woman to do that. He wouldn't put a woman in that type of position. Because for the most part, a woman's natural inclination is going to protect her offspring. No, he wouldn't ask a woman, come sacrifice, because Yahuah don't deal with women in that type of capacity. Well, praise the Lord. In what regard, sir? Because you can't, because his sons were already there at the time of what he was what Noah was commissioned to do. But yeah, he wouldn't send a woman to do that. See, when it come down to serious matters, Yahuah take that to men. Yeah, Yahuah take that to men. Nevertheless. Just let me know what you mean by that. I'll catch it before we slide out of here. Deuteronomy 28, verse 8. Yahuah shall command the blessings upon you in your storehouses and all that you set your hand to do. He shall bless you and the land which Yahuah your Elohim give unto you. Storehouses. Because we kind of touched on the storehouses last week, and we probably should have worked this in at the time, which is a psalm. This is your storehouse. This is your barn. This is Aleph, Samach, and Mem. You're grabbing hold to the strength of the Ruach. That's why you have that blessing in your storehouse or in your barn or in your body with the Ruach HaKadosh. He shall establish you a Kadosh people unto himself, as he has sworn unto you, if you shall keep the commandments of Yahuah your Elohim and walk in his ways. All the people of the earth shall see you are called by the name of Yahuah, and they shall be afraid of you. Now, that's a whole nother conversation that we'll probably focus on just a tad bit more on tomorrow, about all the people of the earth shall see you or be called by his name. All the family of heaven and earth is named after Yahushua HaMashiach. When these people see that, take us back to the storehouse of how he's able to establish you. He can't establish you as Kadosh people until you've been born again. And that shows forth that you're called by his name. Because everyone who named the name of Mashiach must depart from iniquity. When it says that people will be afraid of you, it says that people will Yahweh, they will honor you. They will be afraid. They will respect you. Also be in awe and astonishment. Say people will respect you. Yahuah shall open unto you his good treasure. I skipped over verse 11. Yahuah shall make you plenteous in goods, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and the fruit of your ground, and the land which Yahuah will swear unto your father. See, we're going to stop right there because I want you to think about verse 11. Because now it says that he's going to make you plenteous in goods. Goods is just told. That's just good. Could be rich, estimation, prosperous, all of those things. But he said he's going to make you plenteous and good things. We're going to look at those good things. Plenteous, of course, is your thar, and that's to have also to save over, to preserve alive, to be left over, and to remain, to have excess. Same thing like we've seen in Malachi. He give you a blessing of which the land cannot hold. But he said that you'll be plenteous in goods in the fruit of your body, and your cattle, and the fruit of the ground. And we're going to zero in on that. Verse 12 tells you what? Yahuah shall open unto you his good treasure. The heaven will give you land, rain unto the land in his season, to bless all the work of your hand. You shall lend to many nations, and you shall not borrow. You know all the freak hoes, at least in what I notice, who get money. They always like to say, we're going to bless, we're going to lend, we're going to be the lenders and not the borrowers. We're going to be the head and not the tail. So you got to be careful with them hoes. And when I say hoes, I'm talking about women who have a whorish mentality, who will not humble themselves to serve Elohim, not that they give their vagina away. Sometimes I have to preface that to let y'all know that I'm not talking about a woman who gives her vagina away. I'm talking about a woman who, because as far as Yahuah is concerned, if you won't humble yourself under his authority, you are a whore. Because whores don't listen. You know how these dudes be talking about, get you a little baby who will listen. What I'm gonna get me a hoe for? You telling me that these women are whores because they don't listen, and that's a badge of honor. I just sat back. I seen a couple people make videos about it. Some of y'all seen the Twitter thread that women 17 years later are saying that Beyonce or Destiny's Child, whatever you want to call them people, song "Cater for You" is detrimental to women, and even showed how Michelle Williams, who sung on the song, told her man at the time that Beyonce and Kelly Rowland's verse was their thoughts, and mine was to show how I could encourage and uplift a man. And I thought, this woman said she was a Christian at one time. That's why that white man she was engaged to at the time walked away, because he said, no, you got to submit to baby, biblical structure. And she wasn't with it. Now, this is the sad part. The D-hole don't even feel like I ain't even got to do nothing for a nigga, but you want a nigga to work his fingers to the bone and possibly shed his life for a woman who wouldn't even want to brush his hair and put his do-rag on. These hoes got upset because Beyonce said on that song, my life is purposeless without you. And you know what the funny part is? And I've been telling some of y'all this for years. See, y'all let Beyonce fool you, because she got on them songs and made you think she was this modern feminist type of woman. And that woman is an old school woman. That woman served and honor her husband. When Jay-Z is in the scene, you don't see her till they taking their satanic photographs. She don't utter a word. She in the background. He was banging other hoes. She had to come out and make songs to appease you simple hoes and make y'all think she was this, that, there, and the third. But you see what she didn't do, and that would lead that man. And you can see that with Kelly Rowland as well. She was upset, say, my man ain't making me no money. I'm tired of paying all these bills. But she said, nah, I done had a baby with him. We're going to stick this one out, and had another baby with him. I ain't going back out here in these streets looking for no man, because I ain't going to find one. I got one. I done had it churn. What am I leave for? What am I going to leave for? So they showed you, irregardless of what they put out there in the world. See, there's one thing about it. You don't listen to what a woman says. You look at what she does. Those women have showed you that whatever that type of stuff, that, empower women, we independent, they don't believe none of that. Not in their personal life. Not in their personal life. Do you know the average woman out here, if Jay-Z would have hit another hoe, them stupid hoes would have left? You dumb whore. Because guess what, baby? I don't care what you think about Beyonce. She ain't never going to find another Jay-Z. That's not happening. That's not happening. He can get another Beyonce. There is a newer version of her that just came out on the showroom floor today. He can get another her. Because most people look at it, she's famous and she got money. That just don't mean nothing. This man got $1 billion. That man was rich before he met her. She did not increase his wealth by the least bit. But they're together, allegedly, for many other different reasons. But nevertheless, she can't find another nigga like that. Because a nigga like that, irregardless of how you might feel like he looked physically, there are not many men walking around this earth that are doing what that man is doing, where she can be like, oh, I can get another one because I'm Beyonce. That's not happening. That's why some of y'all seen it. That's why Kim Kardashian was around here crying. This is my third failed marriage, because she ain't going to find another Kanye. Kanye was the best man she ever had as far as status and wealth. All them other niggas she was married to, she had more wealth and status than they do. She ain't going to never be able to replace a Kanye West. He can replace her. Shoot, from the looks of it, from what they say he already has. He got him an older hoe, but hey, he already got kids, so he don't care. Because some people say, well, why do you know that? But either way it goes, she can't. Kim Kardashian going down, baby. Your booty look like dirty diapers. You're not getting another dude like that. That's not happening. I just heard a woman say, you know that chick that be on the People That Talk? She said she was married before. And you know what she said she ended up happening? Listening to her bald-headed friend talking about she need to leave her husband and leave who she had a child with and damage the whole house. She said, you know what happened to me? I was out here struggling. She said, before I was a stay-at-home wife. My husband took care of me, paid all the bills. I listened to my funky hoe friends, and now I'm out here dolo struggling. Why am I telling you all this here? Well, if you married, don't you listen to them funky hoes who be in your ear talking about your husband doing this, you need to do that. Because guess what? You're going to be out here struggling looking stupid. See, some of y'all just feel like, well, he in the word, so he can't marry nobody else. You got the wrong attitude, you funky nigga. You can't be walking around with no attitude of, well, he can't marry nobody else, that you can just be utterly useless and act and treat and move and look any kind of way. That's just selfishness personified. Because we talking about people who ain't in no word. Shoot, and some people who in the word believe that they can remarry, so them niggas don't care. I've told y'all this before, and I'll tell you again. It is much easier for a man to replace you than it is for you to replace him. It's for this trading up and getting a higher caliber man. If you already got a good, because as we talked about this before, didn't he though? So didn't. That's why she had to come up there and try to kill him. That's why she had to come and try to kill him. She knew she wasn't going to get another one of them. She knew she wasn't going to get another one. I be trying to tell people that, man, chicks don't be wanting to believe that junk, boy. Well, that man can get rid of you. Yeah, Beyonce lied to y'all. I can get another one of you in a minute. She lied. She lied. Because when she was singing that to you, she was going back home to her husband. Laying in the bed, farting and hugging. You going to the club, talking about, where did all the men go? Drinking martinis. Talking about the man she left for Jay-Z. Oh, she actually said that?
No, I'm just saying. That was early on in her career.
Well, you know, them niggas been together 20 years, so I think she was with him then when she made that record.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you know, they made songs, but it's on Black Experience. I doubt she was representing their way.
Well, that's if she wrote it. Because a lot of R&B singers ain't singing about nothing they live. They sing about what a nigga handed it to them and say, this song sounds like you can sing it well.
Yeah, no, I just said it just based on what the Carter's songs they've done together.
Either way it go. She told you, he won't put a ring on it. Guess what? He ain't put a ring on it, and ain't that another nigga did it either. And you sitting there looking like, what is going on? But these women be out here lying to y'all, man. They be having you crossed up in the game. They be having y'all crossed up in the game. Well, you got you a good man, take care of you, man. Look out for you, man. You better do your job. Because, boy, I promise to you, boy, it's about 4 or 5 thirsty hoes. Lying. You know what I'm talking about? That woman got on that line talking about she don't cook, she don't clean. Shoot, she cooked, clean, do all that. Guess what? He was busting up other hoes back, and guess what she did? Stay right on them. Because ain't nobody finna marry Cardi B. Not better than him. Not when you done had his child. No, that's not happening. And even like, for what? See, that's only regular people who, and we just mentioned celebrity because they are grossly irrelevant in life. But only regular people look at these women on TV and think, oh, they're so beautiful, as if everybody want to be with them till you actually meet them. And then guess what? See, only a simp gonna be caught up on what she looked like and her name. Because after a while, you still got to deal with this woman. Then you might find out real quick. Yeah, the novelty of Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, and runs out real fast. And then you begin to realize that she's just like any other woman. And is she worth dealing with? And then you have to deal with, these are high earning women. So if you don't make as much or more than them, they're going to disrespect you greatly. She don't feel like she's going to have to listen to you, but they irrelevant. I'm just using the example of that you have women who purport a particular image to women on how to behave, but they don't behave like that in their personal life. They stay with their man. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit back, unless these people have evidential proof that this nigga's a loser or he going oops upside your head. I'm talking about this nigga hitting you with whop whop, Mike Tyson uppercut to the Bernard Hopkins right hook to the Muhammad Ali jab. Boy, if they come around here telling you leave your man, boy, you better go ahead and delete their number. You ain't got to block it. Just delete it. Stop talking to them. Let him be know I don't have time for you. Don't listen to nobody tell you to leave their man. That ain't good, boy. That ain't good, boy, because then they're going to have you out here dolo. And ain't nobody going to protect you and do nothing for you because you don't belong to nobody. They have you out here thinking it's going to be a line of men looking for you, and then it ain't. It ain't. They lying. I'm talking about. See that clip you were talking about? I seen that clip this morning. Man, this nigga was talking to this lady, talking about you think these women preparing their daughters to be wives to your son. See, she ain't want to say it. And she ain't want to check these. He told you need to check these hoes. And you do, though. But you see some chicks, man, I don't care if they in the word or not, man. And they doing some junk. And they got their daughters out of pocket, man. You need to let her know, man. Hey, man, you dog back funky hoe, you. Well, you can't be raising your daughters to be like that. I don't want my son to be involved. My son ain't picking from this crap. You know what was sad? This man said, I don't even advocate for dating outside your race. But at this rate, well, what is these niggas going to do? Because you can't in good conscience tell these niggas to go pick no girl out of how our women are behaving out here. I certainly wouldn't send my son. I say, son, just get your money, man. Well, I tell him that anyway. But son, just get your money, man. Chase the lamb and chase your purpose. Don't be worrying about these women, boy. I work that out for you. You know what I'm talking about? Because, boy, that junk going to be horrible, man. Boy, if we wasn't in no word, that junk be horrible, man. I just want some of you who got daughters, just imagine if you ain't have no word, boy, what type of mentality you would have that you would pass off to your daughters to go out here and ruin some young man's life. That's why our people messed up, man. We don't like to talk about it. We don't like to deal with it. Young girl women just feel like they can disrespect men any kind of way. Now, I'm going to mention this here and then we'll close. Because, hallelujah for Yahuah in the word, first and foremost. Let Elohim be praised and esteemed for all that he does and all that he will do and all that he's done. You know what I'm saying? Let the blessings of Elohim be upon each and every one of you, to strengthen you and your inward parts. Now, I was watching the clip, man. This is an example too, man. I don't know if y'all know about that Fresh and Fit podcast, man. Them niggas kind of gay, but that's neither here nor there. And I ain't just saying that I've been feel like that. That junk be entertaining at times, and then I can't look at it no more. Basically, all they have is I wouldn't disagree with that black men are more fit to raise their kids. Yeah, that what Derek just said. But because they usually have women on there, they be sitting on there talking to women, man. They had two ratchet hoes. I'm talking about ratchet hoes. And the chick kept over talking to him, and he told him to slide. Because he likes to call himself Frank Castle when he put a woman out, put that stuff on Patreon, man. You know how lame of a nigga you got to be to pay a nigga to look at clips of him putting women out of podcasts? He was a pure buster. I'm not paying a nigga to look at that. Nigga, pay a nigga to look at that for what? You know what I'm saying? But he was sitting here, man, the lady walked up and slapped this nigga, yo. Slapped this nigga. Told this nigga she wasn't going to leave. And if she had to go, he had to call the police. Now, see, his first mistake is he kept arguing. So I'm telling you right now, if I'm in my house, number one, I don't think no woman going to disrespect me enough to the point she ain't going to leave. You know what I'm saying? But the difference between him, like he feel like liabilities and all this here. See, if you don't want to leave my house, see, I'm going to roll your funky behind up out my house. I'm talking about like a bowling ball. I'm going to roll you up on out of here because I ain't finna be playing these type of games with you. That's just what I'm not finna do. But if I feel like I don't feel like doing that, and you're like, oh, you're going to have to call the police. See, now, Keisha, now I got to pull one of your moves because I'm going to call Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, JSO. Mr. Williams Fine is going to come see you, baby, and they going to walk you up out of here. I'm not finna argue with you. He started arguing with this woman, this, that, then the third. But, boy, when she walked up and slapped him, boy, I might have kicked that hoe like this here. This is Sparta, and kicked that hoe dead in her chest. Because, boy, that disrespect. You know what I'm talking about? Slapped me in my face. And she walked up to him and did it too. But see, she walked up and did him like that because, see, he made his first mistake. You kept arguing with this woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna argue with you, man. It'll just be funny to me because they be so amped up about we put these women out. Because he makes a statement all the time about get your money up so you don't have to tolerate women's bad behavior. But you's a whole nigga if you got to have money to straighten a chick. But you supposed to straighten a chick whether you got $1 or $100,000. You got to let her know I'm not putting up this crap. And I don't have to. And I mention that because your masculinity should not be tied to how much money you got. Because there's a lot of dudes who got money and they busters, they simps, they suckers, and they hoes. Allegedly, but they just talking about James Harden paid a woman $100,000 just to ask her on a date. For what? Now this nigga make $40 million a year. So maybe $100,000 to him is like shooting you a yard. He a trick. But guess what? Because a lot of women see dudes trick, they think all dudes trick. Like the whole world is out of whack. But that's neither here nor there. My point is this here, man. I don't care how much money you got. You just have to maintain your masculinity. To let a woman know that you're not with her foolishness, number one, don't raise your voice. You don't need, if you have to raise your voice, that means she has to be sincerely out of pocket. At all times, try not to raise your voice. Keep your tone level. Don't go back and forth and argue with her, because you're not going to beat her in that arena. You're not going to beat a woman in verbal sparring and verbal jousting. She's going to defeat you every time. Because when you get into verbal jousting and verbal sparring, that becomes an emotional exchange. She has the dichotomy of emotional exchanges mastered. You're not going to beat her in that arena. You're going to lose. So refrain and just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Protect yourself at all costs. And this, that, then, the third, and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it pushing, because you ain't got to go through all that. But man, don't be putting up with people no bad behavior because you feel like, oh, I ain't got no money, so I got to take this. Shoot, lying to me. Lying to me. You know what I'm saying? That's not just funny to me, because I was taught this in the 90s. So to see a dude say this here, and it was a that boy, that shot out. You know what I'm talking about? Because like this here, man. And it's one thing that dude said, I think I told y'all this too, that I don't respect. I ain't respect it before I was in the word. Because the niggas, a few of the older heads around my way that I respected. These dudes on Fresh and Fit tell you, once you get money, basically just try to hit every chick that you come across. Or that's cool for you to hit every chick that you come across. Now, I know that most of you brothers is married, but I'm talking about talking to young men, whether they in the word or not. Boy, you let them boy know, boy, you don't need to be dropping your meat off into every chick you see. Boy, you need to have some discipline with your penis, man. For you to be sleeping with a whole bunch of women, boy, that don't make you no solid, valuable dude. Boy, you trash, boy. Because see, one thing for certain and two things for sure. Boy, ain't no nigga who hitting a whole bunch of chicks, hit a whole bunch of dime pieces and beautiful women, niggas lying. It's some fat hoes in there. It's some average hoes in there. It's some ugly ones in there. All that there, man. Don't you go for that there. You know what I'm saying? If you are a man of any substance and value, well, you ain't sleeping with no whole bunch of chicks. Matter of fact, you'll turn vagina down. Well, you got to watch a nigga who will tell you he'll sleep with anything or he hitting anything. Boy, that man ain't to be trusted. He definitely trash. Ain't no man of value, period. See, I know some people, well, Solomon had 1,000 wives. He was married to them women. And it ain't tell you that he was knocking them all down. Because, boy, ain't nobody got enough vitality, or seminal fluid in their testicles to service 1,000 women. You got to have enough common sense to know that. 1,000 women, cuz. But yeah, man, you got young cats in your circle, man. Let them boys know, man, have some discipline with their meat, man. They got to have discipline with their Jones, man. You can't be around here knocking down everything, man. That don't make you no valuable, man. Don't let them boys out here go for them lies that they mo. Boy, you a real man, boy. Boy, you knock down. No, man. No, boy. Kings value they seed, so they don't even let they seed go in any. They don't plant that in every. Come on, man. If you was out here looking for farmland, you gonna plant your seeds in every farmland you come across, every soil you come across? Absolutely not. Some of that bad soil, some of it's just topsoil, some of it's contaminated soil. No, you're gonna do a diligent search to make sure this is fertile soil to be worthy of the seeds that I'm dropping. No, man. No, man. That junk ain't that junk ain't what's happening. Why you think Yahuah don't give his seed to everybody? Yes, caramel and whiskey. But again, blessings out the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Bless y'all the house of Elohim. Love y'all. Yahuah willing, we'll pick it up on tomorrow and go from there. Yeah, I really don't be respecting